Hey guys, so I wanted to connect with you. It's Friday morning. I'm just going to go over a post that I made, and some of you might have read it, but I want to add more detail to it and just kind of connect with you on a few things. You might not be able to read this as I'm looking at this unless you expand your video. Maybe you're on your phone. So it's more for me than you. I just want to kind of guide my thoughts and again, kind of expand upon what I shared in this post. So I said, today, I wrote this today. Today I got this list of what I'm going to be working on. I think this can bring some insight into what I do that gets such great results. Most of this you do not have to do. Much of this uh, you'll never have to do because I'm doing a lot that puts a lot of structure in place. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, by the time you do have to do a lot of these things, you're already making really big money. With making a lot of money comes responsibility. And while we're here to build residual income that we can kind of walk away from and still have it coming in, the reality is as you're building it, when you start to make that bigger income, you start to have more responsibility. And this is going to reflect what some of that is. Now, you don't have to do all of this because I'm doing a lot of framework and structuring that you could just plug into. And there's other great leaders here that are doing the same. But there's some of this that's on the relationship building side that you will want to do in your own way as your business grows, as you start to make more money. You can't be mindless and too hands off about this process. You have to be passionate about it, like any business. It's just easier than any other business to be able to succeed. It's more forgiving. Like you take time away or you don't maybe have a lot of skills, and it gives you lots of room to grow. And it's just in that regard, it's very forgiving, but you still have to be passionate about it. Okay. Today I'll be notifying all of those in my Daily Choice team who are at any level, even the free affiliate level, or those who signed up at various levels who stopped ordering. So they signed up a long time ago at director or executive, and then they stopped ordering and dropped off the face of the earth. I'll be contacting them too and letting them know of all the enrollments that took place below them, because yesterday was Thursday. It's the cutoff date. New enrollments came in for the week. And I don't always do this, but I'm going to start making it a habit. It's at least one of my priorities. Again, this business is very forgiving. It's very forgiving. You can set up priorities and you don't always do it. Like I had this in mind and I haven't always done it, but I'm still okay. But I'm going to try to focus in on it because I know that this will help a lot to help people understand what's happening in their business, that things continue to happen, even if they're like out of the loop, and what they need to do if they want to benefit from it. So I'm going to be contacting all these different people in the team that are different levels and different situations and contacting them. I'll attempt, and this is the relationship side. I just want you guys to understand, like I'll attempt, and again, I'll attempt. I may not have time, but I'll attempt to write each group separately. Okay? I know there's typos and stuff. It's because I got so much content to push out, guys. I just don't do a lot of like spell checking and stuff. I hope you can be forgiving on that because I'm just not going to like spend too much time on typos and spell checking. As long as you can understand, it's all I really look for. I'll attempt to write each group separately. So I'll write the people, well, let me just read this. So I can really target the message. For example, my message about the good news of all the enrollments that came in this past week underneath them, in my call to action. In other words, after I share that with them, what step do I want them to take next to learn about the compensation plan, or maybe study a video from Eric Worre, one of the top trainers in the industry. Like I'm going to give, and some of you are going to see this. You all should see it. I'm going to be contacting I'm going to try to contact everyone on my Daily Choice team of all the exciting things in the enrollments that happened last week that I am aware of. There's even more than what I'm aware of, which I want to make clear to them as well. And then I'm going to have a call to action, a step for them to take. At least that's the attempt. That's the aim. But it's different. Here's the point. It's different for each different team member group. So for example, those who signed up at executive or director a while back, and then they dropped off the face of the earth, they would get a slightly different message and a different call to action, perhaps, at least I consider it, than those who signed up, at the free affiliate level recently. And like they just signed up and I haven't even, heard from them or connected with them. It's a different message. And I'm going to share those emails with you so you can kind of see how I do that. And again, this is just my intention. I could run out of time, some kind of emergency could come up, And that's what's so cool about this business. And that's what we mean by it's so forgiving. And you don't have to have this extreme workaholic type A personality who's hyper focused on their work and is a master at it. And so you can still be successful, because like I'll make these priority, as opposed to other businesses, by the way, where you do need to be just genius level, you know, person really on a lot of levels, like implementation and stuff. You don't have to be here. I'll set a priority like this, and you know, it's just an intention. Now, as I work through this, I'm going to share with you the emails that I send out, so you can see how I send a different message to those who signed up for free recently versus those who signed up at director or executive 4 months ago who dropped off the face of the earth, versus those who are my top producers, or, you know, moving towards becoming my top producers that are in it to win it. Like, you know, sometimes I'll email them all the same message because I just don't have time, but I'm going to try. My intention is to email them separately because it's a different message. And I want you to see that that's part of the relationship building process that takes place when you're using email. And it doesn't just pertain to team members and notifying them of the good news. It also pertains to notifying, and this is another thing on my list today, I'm going to be notifying all pre-enrollees what they missed out on. Thursday, yesterday was the cutoff date. A lot of them missed out on enrollments. And in fact, here's, and I'll be doing the same thing where there's kind of different groups. Like there's some people who only had maybe, you know, some free affiliates sign up underneath them because they're kind of towards the bottom of the chain. My message to them will be different because they're new to the process, as opposed to people that got an executive underneath them. Like the message will be different, so I have to email them separately. And that's what a lot of you aren't doing. And I understand it's an extra step and it's an extra effort. And I know you can't always do it, but you need to try to do that and do it as much as you can to email these different groups a separate message instead of trying to pack it all into one email and talk to all of them, because it just doesn't hit them. You have to speak directly to where they're at. Like you have to say, like, for example, if I'm going to contact pre-enrollees that just recently signed up and maybe yesterday they didn't have anybody sign up underneath them, you know, I would email them and say, hey, you might have saw some emails go out yesterday about the Thursday cutoff. And I wouldn't even mention anyone signed up underneath them. I would just be saying, every Thursday this happens, keep your eye out. Here's where you log in and check your stats. Here's where the comprehensive review, so you understand what it means. As opposed to me emailing pre-enrollees today who got some signups underneath them. And let's say one of the signups, let's say, was an executive. My message in that email is, hey, I wanted to let you know yesterday an executive came in, they were underneath you, but you lost them because you didn't enroll in time. And while I'm not here to beat you up about it or make you feel bad about it, I just want you to understand, like, this keeps happening and every Thursday will keep happening. And, you know, so I'm speaking directly to them. So I'll try to share some of those messages with you. And again, this is a lot about building a personal relationship. I don't want to lose track of where I'm at. Let me see what's going on here. So this was an example of an email I already sent out to one of these groups. And I titled it My Apologies because I actually meant to send this notification to this group of pre-enrollees last night to say, hey, an executive just enrolled underneath you. I just want to let you know you have a few hours left. If you want to keep them in your organization, here's what it means. Here's the comp review. And I went to hit send, and I thought I sent it, and I walked away because I was in a hurry to leave, and it didn't send. So this is another thing I want to show you, another side to what I'm doing that I know a lot of you really aren't integrating in, where I don't just like slough that off like, oh, the email didn't go out, bummer. Like, I turn it into an opportunity. And I've talked about this, but how much are you guys really seizing these things and really looking for these opportunities to build relationships? Because again, through an email, when I send out with the subject, my apologies, and I send, and I'll read this to you so you get a feel for it, letting them know what happened, that's the relationship building side. And then you're not just pitching all the time. It's like, it's a human element to what's happening. And that's the piece a lot of you aren't bringing, is that human element. And it's really easy to do. And it's going to be unique to you. Like, for example, me not sending that email last night when I thought I did, and waking up this morning and realize, oh, I didn't notify those 500 people they had an executive that they were going to lose. Instead of just like ignore it, it's a unique situation. And you're going to always have these unique situations. You have to look for opportunities to do something like this. So this morning I saw that, and instead of just saying bummer and forgetting about it, I sent out an email to that same group of pre-enrollees, and I say, my apologies. And I go, yesterday I intended to send this email to you with the subject, more good news. But as I rushed out to have dinner at a nice restaurant with my kids for the first time since the lockdown, I apparently didn't hit the final confirmation button, so this didn't go out. I'd like you to read it and to understand that every Thursday at midnight this happens. And each time it happens, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So instead of waiting, I encourage you to learn what Robin and I have been doing for you. Don't keep waiting to the last minute to get this figured out. And then, it says, here's the email you were supposed to get. This is the email I meant to send out last night. If you're getting this, you have 6 more affiliates who enrolled, la-di-da-di-da. And it showed them how to log into their site. It talked about different options to sign up. And you can you can steal this copy and you can integrate this into what you send out and look at some of the other emails you send out and kind of make it different so they're not all the same every week when you're notifying them of these things. But guys, this isn't rocket science and it's not really hard. I want to be really clear, and I'm going to get back to my daily task list and the point of this video. But I just want to say this is not complicated, but I'm bringing a human element to it that I know a lot of you aren't, and you've got to do that, or you are and then you aren't. I mean, I'm always just integrating that in. Sometimes I'll just send out like an email, like I'm sharing with you, the same ones you send out. But when stuff like this happens, I'm always integrating in a human element where possible. And you can see where that would make it feel a lot different. So look for those opportunities constantly. I want to go back. I'm not sure. Let me just hit the back button. Will it take me there? Let's see. By the way, I put at the top here a different picture to show that June 20th, we got another event coming up that you can register for, June 20th with MyDailyChoice. Okay, so again, recap, I'm notifying everyone in my MyDailyChoice team of all the different enrollments that took place this week. I'm notifying all the pre-enrollees what they missed out on. And the bigger point is I'm contacting different groups of them, or at least I'm going to try to, so I can target the message, right? And I'll share those emails with you so you can swipe that. And I know not all of you have a lot of good news to share yet. Getting momentum in your leg means you hit eureka, you found the gold mine. Like, you're working towards that momentum now. So don't be all bummed out like, oh, I don't have a lot of good news to report. It's like, well, I didn't either on day one, but I need to show you what to do when you start to get it, or you're going to lose the big opportunity that comes from having early momentum. And also, there's a lot of nuggets here. For example, the message I'm giving you right now about custom tailoring your message. Like, for example, contacting your team when something good happens, even as simple as like you doing a solo ad, or you starting to do some prospecting and you brought in some pre-enrollees. Contact the people that signed up with you, even if they're completely out of the loop and they never even contacted you since they signed up, and let them know the good news. You see, it's about relationships. It's about communication. And you got to show care and concern. And if you treat this seriously like this, you're going to get paid seriously, guys. You're going to start building that momentum. Okay. I'm also going to be contacting people who dropped off auto order this month. I am at the phase of my business where I'm identifying who my long-term success stories are going to be, so I can give them more attention and energy and really start working with them, start doing like webinars like I did with James, with more of them, start literally getting to know the pre-enrollees, like really getting hands-on what I'm trying to move into with them. And I need to identify all those people, and I'm working towards that. I know some people may have had their auto orders not go through for technical reasons. Like sometimes for whatever reason, I know this happened to Chris Cunningham. I need to find out why or what he learned about it. I know sometimes people don't know and their auto order doesn't go through. If that happens, I don't want to see that and go, oh, I guess they're not serious. I'll never talk to them again because they're not serious about the business. I need to contact them and see, do they understand? Do they know that it didn't go through? And so I'll be reaching out to them. Now, you guys, I mean, I got to say, like, you don't want to chase people or anything. If they don't want to be in the business, they don't want to be in the business. But if someone gets off auto order, you want to reach out and find out, like, are you serious about the business? And you want to learn some skills, guys. Like, you want to learn some skills. Like, for example, Eric Worre, which I'll talk about in a minute, who's a trainer. Like, if someone says, yeah, like, oh, I don't have time, like, you want to learn how to address that so it's not an issue. Or if someone says, yeah, it's just too expensive for me, like, to keep it going, like, you want to address that. Like, for me, I would be like, how expensive is it to give up? How expensive is it to keep doing what you're doing and not have another income stream plan? Like, you have to know how to respond. to those situations. Like I can give you the systems. It's like, bring pre-enrollees and what to send to the pre-enrollees. But then there's the interaction, right? Like when someone reaches out and say, I'm interested, but I don't have time, or they signed up and they get off auto order and you reach out and say, hey, I just want to make sure you knew you got off auto order. And they say to you, yeah, you know what? I just don't have enough money to maintain this. You have to know what to say to help them look at the situation with a clear mind, because maybe they're spending money on needless stuff and they're just stuck in this like hypnotized state of self-sabotage. And just a couple questions can, that are real simple, like the one I just gave you of, if someone said they didn't have enough money, I'd say, okay, how much are you going to lose? Like, are you considering how much you're going to lose financially, what the cost is if you don't see this through? Because really the issue is usually something different, right? It's a belief issue. They don't believe it's going to work for them, et cetera, et cetera. So learn some skills, guys. You gotta treat this as a profession. Yeah, it's a system, and there's automation, but there's also the human element, of course. Of course, we wouldn't want it to be any different, would we? It would be really, really weird to be completely disconnected and not be serving people in any way other than just like some kind of pyramid scheme or something. That's how a lot of people treat this stuff. And it's just, it takes the fulfillment out of it. Like take some time to really put your heart into it and to care about these people that you're working with. Anyway, I was just mentioning, I'm going to reach out to those that dropped off auto order because I don't want to cut them off the team if they're just not aware that the auto order didn't go through or something like that. And I also want to take advantage of the opportunity to find out, do they have some kind of stinking thinking going on and they're stuck in some self-sabotage? And again, it's someone's choice what they want to do with their life, but I want to at least ask a question or two, like I just shared with you, to find out like what's going on with their psychology that might be leading them down, a really costly mistake. Because what plan do people really have? I mean, quite frankly, right? I know, because of my experience in this industry of opportunities, not just network marketing, but all opportunities, I know for a fact that this is an extraordinarily good opportunity, and that's an understatement. And so I know that people don't have other choices, and I know how bad the economy is looking. So I have a very clear mind, a very clear picture of what they're going to miss out on and lose on. It's massive. The cost of auto order and the cost of this business is nothing compared to what one would lose if they don't have a clear plan and path to be financially empowered in a very unstable, very uncertain future. And so, you want to be able, anyway, I'm going to be able to address that with them by reaching out to them. I'm also going to be contacting people who are at the builder level on 40 BVs. That's like level 1. And just making sure they know about the advantages of being an executive. And again, just making sure that they understand that, they're missing out on the full compensation plan. They're kind of like got their toe in the water. So, you're less motivated when you put your toes in the water as opposed to when you jump in. The other day, I went to a really cold stream to soak in the water. If I just went ankle deep, it's a different experience than if I go all the way in that cold water. It's like, woo, it was refreshing, and it's a very similar analogy to cold water, doing the things that it takes to build this business successfully. We resist, kind of like jumping into a cold stream. We resist. You jump in, it's so uncomfortable, so painful. I came out of there 5 minutes later feeling just insanely amazing. It's really, really similar. But anyway, I just want to make sure I'm going to reach out to them, or at least that's my intention for the day, to reach out to them and make sure they understand the advantages of being an executive, and kind of, ask some questions to help them see it. Are they self-sabotaging by only putting their toe in the water? If that's where someone has to be and they're going to work up the ladder and they're going to be taking action, then fantastic. But a lot of times people don't go all the way in. And then just like if I went to that cold stream and just put my toes in the water, walking away from that experience, I wouldn't have been exhilarated. And so sometimes you have to put yourself all the way in to get that energy and to get that motivation. So I'll be reaching out to them to kind of have a little bit of that conversation. I'll also be sharing a training with my prospects and with you guys that Jenna did with Eric Worre. I mentioned him a moment ago, emphasizing how network marketing is a serious profession. I'm going to send an email to my prospects saying, like, hey, is this a scam? And like anyone who sits down and listens to Eric Worre talk about the industry knows this industry is not a scam. I know there's a lot of scams out there, like in the crypto market. I got sucked into those. Okay, we can all get scammed a couple years ago. And a lot of people still doing those because it's easy money in the short run, but you can lose your house, you can lose your car, that exists, and I might address that. But this is a real business. And when you listen to Eric Worre, you know that. So I'm going to be addressing that with the prospects and, exposing them to that. I'd like to, if I have time, I'd like to play the video and like give my thoughts on what he's saying, so that people can connect what he's talking about, because he's kind of an old school network marketer. I want to bring what he's saying and connect it to, some of the methods that I'm using to build the business, so it all comes full circle. He also talks about like the business isn't easy. I want to be able to like stop the video and say, okay, so when you hear me say this strategy is easy that we're using, I mean in comparison to any other strategy to develop residual income and the freedom lifestyle that I've had for years. I've tried lots of different methods, online marketing, other different business opportunities, traditional business models, and this model. And the strategy we put together is the easiest. It is insanely easy to build a residual income compared to any other method. So I'm going to be making those clarifications, because a lot of times people, they don't know what the heck you're talking about. Like easy, like when Mike, when you say that, you mean easy like eating some ice cream on the couch and watching Netflix? Obviously not. So I'll be stopping the video and just clarifying, those kinds of things to bring it all full circle. I think that's going to be really, really valuable, and you can send that out to your prospects as well. I'm going to try to get it done today, but lots to do. This is intention. Scheduling a session for new members who enrolled. So I have a lot of new people who came in, even all the way back several weeks ago, that I haven't connected with yet. I'm not in my A game in a lot of areas, guys, and I'm still doing well. So my goal here is to get on my A game. Obviously, I should be meeting with the people that I enrolled. I got to make a better process out of all of this for myself. And then things are just going to get better and better and better as I do. You don't have to be perfect. This business is very forgiving as long as you got your heart in it and you treat it serious. Reading through all the replies I got from team members where they shared with me their goals and how they plan to prospect and stuff. So a lot of you have emailed me. I asked you to, or messaged me with your goals and your vision for everything. And I'm going to help you put together a plan. So that's going to be a process, but I'm also going to spend some time on that again today. Starting the process of setting up Zoom webinars or Facebook Lives with our growing leaders on the team. I did one with James Lockett. I'm not sure, like a lot of you might have seen this one. If you haven't, there's a replay where he interviewed me, and it was a great. I got to get a better lighting in my room, don't I? It was a great presentation. I haven't been set up for video. Like I've been totally just in development phase and prospecting phase, and I get in that mode, and I'm going to be moving into, more lives and more public stuff. I've been saying that a while. I look forward to it. That's just on my mind every day. And part of that is doing them with other people like I did with James. And then we'll record those and we'll use those to put into your emails to your prospects and so forth. Working on marketing funnel with Robin, videos, scripts that will take this all to the next level. And there's so much, really in that funnel. We've got some great leads that we're generating that I want to pass on to you guys if you're in level 2 or level 3. I got so much stuff going on that's so cool. But again, all I can do is kind of just put these priorities in front of me and see what I can get done in a day and keep moving through it. We're just going to keep getting better and better and better. Working on new training area for those who enter onto the team. Also, I'll share many of these things with you as I do them. So throughout the day, you might see me say, here's an email that I just sent to my leads, et cetera, et cetera. So a couple other things, guys. Let's see, what's this here? Why did I have this open? Oh, that's the call I did with James. That's the webinar I did with James. He did a great presentation. There's lots of styles that we can do that with. Yeah. Okay, so this I had open just to kind of show you all the signups that have come up in the last month or so. I'm going to be going over this with you guys when I share the new lead source that's doing really well. And so I'm going to just postpone that for now. Again, the Eric Worre and Jenna, the conversation, I want to integrate that into the funnel and send that out and share that with you and talk about it with you. I also wanted to mention, if you're in my downline, if you're not, then Robert Hollis may or may not be in your upline. But if you're in my downline, then Robert Hollis is definitely in your upline. He's an industry legend. And I actually want to take some clips from different interviews he's done and weave that into our funnel as well. And you guys will get to use that. But he's just phenomenal. I really encourage you to go into his group. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. and listen to some of his training. Start to develop some of your skills. Start to get your mindset right. He talks about this really not taking any skill. He talks about just being relationship oriented. It's a completely different strategy of building with me. He's highly successful, and a lot of people on his team are too. Take advantage of that. Plug into that. Don't just learn from me, because everyone's got their own personality and their own ways of doing things. And he's definitely got a really easy way of building this business that a lot of you could incorporate in. The power team. This is also, if you're in my downline, then Aaron Parker, who's making a lot of money in this business. He knows what he's doing, him and Kathy. Join his group. If you're not in it, follow what they're doing, guys, like the best you can. And you may say, oh, I don't have time. It's like, well, wait a minute. What does that mean? We design our life. We surround ourselves with the people we want in our life. And you know darn well if you go online, you're wasting time. So it's really about something else. It's really about something else. So if you're in my downline, you can join his. This is Robert Hollis's, called Vision. Just search Robert Hollis Vision. Again, if you're not in my downline, then you need to check to find out if he's one in your upline. Contact whoever your upline is until you find out. But if you're in my downline, he's in your upline too. Go learn from him. There's also CBD All-Stars. This is Aaron Rashkin's. Now, Aaron Rashkin does not want anyone in his group, because he's really hands-on with his group. He doesn't want anyone in his group that's not in his downline. So if you don't know for sure that Aaron Rashkin, not Aaron Parker, but Aaron Rashkin, another bigger income earner in the company and a phenomenal trainer that you should be learning from as well. Now he does cuss. I know it turns some people off, so just forewarning, but he's a great guy, a really heart-centered guy, a real go-giver, and just phenomenal trainer, and gives a lot of like really specific text that you can text people, that you can give people, that you can email out. Like really, it's really cool. And it's more powerful. It's more traditional copywriting style than mine, and it's more powerful in many ways. And I would feel more powerful if you weave it in with what I do. Mine's real like authentic and just a different, unique approach. It's not your typical copy. And his, I wouldn't say is typical, but it's more following how copywriting is taught. And to incorporate that in can be really beneficial. If you're in my downline, then you are in Aaron Rashkin's downline, and you can be in his CBD All-Stars group. But please listen, do not ask to join his group if you do not know for sure that you're in my downline. He's asked many times. Okay, so there's also Jason Cardamone's group, and I say this last, not because it's the least important, but because we emphasize this so much. We have it all throughout. Jason's the person who directly enrolled me, and he has awesome training and all kinds of support in his groups as well. He has two different groups, one called Base Camp for people at any level in the business, and then he has one for executives. So if you're an executive, you want to be in both. I know it's a lot of groups. You want to surround yourself with a community of people who can support you. And you might ask a question in our group that you would be able to get a better answer to in another group. So you want to know which groups are kind of better for what topics. You want to build relationships with other people in the company. If you believe, which is a choice, that you're going to be successful here, that you're going to build an amazing life here, an amazing residual income here for the rest of your life, then you would be building relationships with people here. You only don't do that when you believe you're going to fail. So stop it. Decide you're going to succeed. Realize that this is your home. This is one of your homes. This is one of your most important professional homes. All of these pages, all of these groups, all of these uplines. And if you're not in my downline, find out who your upline leaders are and integrate with them, and listen to their videos when you can. Watch their trainings when you can, because you can learn so much. And it's not just valuable to your business. It can be fulfilling for your entire life. Understand that if you decide to succeed here, you'll want to develop relationships with the people in this company. If that's not happening, it's probably an indication that you have a self-sabotaging record playing on repeat that you want to break. Okay, guys, so that's it for now. As you can see, I got a lot to do, and Robert Hollis, he's just hilarious, and he's just an amazing guy. He focuses entirely on relationships. I know a lot of you need to learn how to weave that in to what you're doing, so I encourage you to listen to him too. You can develop a hybrid kind of, that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to all these guys, and I incorporate it all into what I do. So you can develop a hybrid, or you might decide that one of their methods is way better for you than mine. and or for someone on your team. So plug in. And again, if you're not in my downline, then maybe you can't join theirs, but you can join your uplines who are making the big money that have lots to teach. All right, so I got lots to jump into. I'm going to start contacting people on the team, my pre-enrollees probably first, and then my team about what happened yesterday. And I'll share those emails with you, and I'll start moving through my list. All right, guys, make it an awesome day. Stay focused on what you want to create. Don't let the world like bog you down. Don't get caught up in stuff that wastes your energy and wastes your time. I know that you see me sometimes standing up on social media for what I believe in, but I'm very strategic about that. If you want to ask me about that, ask me on a webinar or something. It's very much interwoven with who I want to attract to my business. And I don't want to send a message out. If you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing. And so sometimes when things are just getting a little bit crazy out there, I spend a little bit of time making sure the world knows where I stand on things. If you have questions about that or what have you, we don't have to agree on everything, but there's one thing we have to agree on, by the way, if we're going to work together. And that is that everybody has a right to express themselves. I mean, short of like just ignorant stuff that's just, bullying people. Obviously, we draw the line there in a professional environment, and it is in my life in a personal environment as well. Bullying, attacking other people for their views, not allowing people to express themselves. Like I don't believe in that. I believe in free expression, freedom of speech, liberty, and of course, a lot of the topics going on today. I think that a lot of people actually agree on a lot of the things, but there's a lot of political weird stuff going on that are getting people to think that they don't agree. And I needed to take a stand. But if you have any questions about that or how that fits into who I want to attract into my business and why I do that, let me know. You just be cautious and mindful. If you're getting caught up in stuff and getting emotionally all over the place because someone else wants to give you a narrative about what you should be focusing on, instead of focusing on your life, pull back, focus on what you want to create here, integrate yourself into this community. We're surrounded by really, really positive, empowering people. Be grateful for where you're at. Be grateful for this opportunity. Focus on what you want to create. And guys, focus on your skills while you follow the system, and you will be successful. I'll talk to you guys soon.